Shout out to Cats Pod.
A big defensive play for Montana State.
Touchdown, Tommy Malone is electrifying.
Welcome to the Cats Pod. What's up, Podcats? Hope you guys enjoyed your Christmas. It was kind of a hectic week with Christmas right in the middle of it, and it was at least good for a distraction so we weren't constantly thinking about this game coming up next week. Definitely was still in the front of my brain, but it was nice to have some things to take the mind off it. You know, how do you feel about it, Eric?
Oh, we're right in the middle of the longest 2 weeks in all of sports, I'd say.
Yeah, it doesn't get much rougher than this, at least for FCS fans.
It takes, it just feels like it's dragging by, and it's only Sunday going into the game here, and we still have 7 days.
Yeah, we still have a whole 7 days and another 24 hours to tack on top of that. It is not very fun.
No.
But
no, when all you can think about is Bobcat football and excitement for a national championship possibility.
Yep.
This is an excruciating wait. I mean, let's call it what it is. Excruciating.
A spade is a spade. In this situation, it is tough. Right off the bat, I wanted to bring this up. I want to thank our dude Roger Fisher, real quick. He deserves a shout out. He did hit me up in my DMs this morning on X to see if I was going to Frisco, and I had to let him know that sadly I won't be there in Frisco, but my guy Eric will be.
I'll be there.
He'll be there. But Roger Fisher shared a screenshot of one of our YouTube videos on all platforms, and then all of a sudden our YouTube numbers went through the roof. So I'm thinking, Mr. Fisher, that at least had something to do with you. I like to think part of it's us, but also at the same time, thank you very much, Roger Fisher. Super fan.
Big time.
Yeah.
Big time appreciate it.
Yeah. So the only wait that is longer than these 2 weeks for the championship is the wait since the last time the Bobcats won a national championship. Okay?
Yeah.
It has been 40 solid years since the last championship. December 15th, yes, 1984.
That's a long time.
A very long time ago. Eric, what do you think a loaf of bread cost in 1984?
Oh, gosh,
I looked everything up here, okay? I looked everything up.
A loaf of bread. I'm going to get, I don't know what a loaf of bread costs right now. I'm not a big grocery shopper.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I'm going to say $3.50.
$3.50? No. That's some fancy bread. Yeah. In 84, that would be some fancy bread. A loaf of bread cost 66 cents.
Damn.
Yeah. A gallon of milk was $1.89, and this is the one that always kills me. A new car, the average price of a new car in 1984, $6,300. Could you imagine if you could just go down to a car dealership and buy a car for $6,300 right now, a brand new car?
You can go down to a dealership and buy a car if you add another zero on that 6,300.
Exactly. That's what it's going to cost. Like it's a 10 times change that we've gone through in this situation.
Yeah, we're fully moving decimal points, not just adding a little bit. We're moving decimal points.
Okay. So, also in my research, I looked up the number one song in the country the week that the Cats last won the national championship. And listening through this song, I don't want to build it up too much, but I feel like this would be a great song for if you're road tripping or if you're on a drive heading to the stadium for the game. I think this song kind of hits in a 1984 kind of way. So I'm going to play a little bit of it. You guys will get to hear it, and you'll get Eric's live reaction because he's never heard this before at all. Okay. If I can find my mouse. There we go.
Back from the fire. An August moon surrender.
This was the number one song.
This was the number one song, baby.
Wild boys falling
The Wild
Who on
Boys are
earth
coming. The
is
Wild
this?
Boys are coming, Eric. Let me tell you. The Wild Boys by Duran Duran was the number
Oh
one
my
song in the
gosh.
country.
Now that's a name I haven't heard in a minute. Is Duran Duran?
I'm pretty sure everybody thought that Duran Duran only had one song, but they were not a one-hit wonder, apparently.
Apparently
You
not.
know.
No.
Not
That's
a,
wild.
not a one-hit wonder, but the Wild Boys kind of hits. I can't play a ton of it. We're probably all. I mean, we don't make any money off YouTube, so it doesn't really matter if they demonetize one of our videos, because there's no money coming in from it anyways. But didn't want to play too terribly much of that. But it's got some nice electronic stuff going on during the intro and everything. I just wanted to cut to some of the lyrics
It's,
because the Wild Boys
it's-
are coming.
It's an interesting mix between like Pink Floyd and 80s hair band.
Yeah. It's got like 80s hair band. It's got like the electric, like when techno was kind of first starting out and people were first using synthesizers and everything. It's got some of that going on. Honestly, I think it's a pretty good song. I've listened to it. It's definitely going to get added on to my Bobcat road trip playlist. You know, all the songs that I listen to on the way to games, it's definitely getting added onto that list.
I wouldn't have guessed that in a million years.
No, I had no idea it even existed when I first looked it up. The number one, what?
Off the top of my head, I was gonna guess the number one song might have been like maybe Journey or something like that. I don't know.
Journey, maybe. I was thinking Prince might have a good chance because early 80s, I feel like Prince that's when he was really going off.
Yeah.
Was right during that era, but no Prince, no Journey.
Those are two good guesses, and those would have been my guesses.
Yep.
I'm really glad you didn't put me on the spot on that one.
Yeah. If anybody wants a really weird view, if you're into weird old music videos, watch the music video for The Wild Boys by Duran Duran, because that is an all-time weird what the H is going on in this situation. I could not figure that video out. It's kind of like Mad Max stuff going on, and I was very, very confused the entire time. The next thing I got for you is going to be a much more recognizable song, because especially for like our generation, this song got remixed and it got a whole new life added to it beyond the 80s. The number one movie in the country the last time the Bobcats won the national championship was Beverly Hills Cop.
There we go.
And that one's just really weird to hear without the crazy frog stuff going on.
Yeah. Boy, things have changed.
Things have changed, just slightly, you know. Music production has changed a lot. Movies have changed a lot. You don't get like just an original comedy like Beverly Hills Cop was. And I don't think we have anybody in the game right now that's as good as Eddie Murphy was, you know.
That's super fair. That's very, very fair. Eddie Murphy is a GOAT.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. One of the greatest comedians of all time. One of the best comedic actors of all time. Very hard to find a modern day comparison for a guy like him, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. But boy, yeah. Things are just a little different this year. We got what I would think is maybe even a better football team.
Yeah. It could be. It's a very different football team than the 84 team.
I don't know. What's the number one song right now?
I wouldn't even know. You'd have to look that one up.
I'm looking it up.
Okay. So, like I was saying, the 84 team was a much different type of team than this team we have coming up. They were much more pass-heavy offense. All these games that they won in the national championship game, they threw the ball 57 times. So that
50.
is a completely different balance than we are used to seeing in these games. The leading rusher for the Bobcats had 4 carries for 13 yards, Mr. Jesse Jones. So it is a very hard team to compare to this modern one, but very much championship talent and some huge performances from quarterbacks and wide receivers on this team in a lot of different games.
Yeah. I gave up looking that up.
Okay, you gave up. That's all right.
It started taking me to pages that I didn't quite understand, so I quit.
Yeah, you're like this is too deep for me. I can't really figure this one out. Yeah, I
I
gotcha.
can't believe they threw the ball 57 times in that game.
Yep, 57 times, 32 for Kelly Bradley was 32 for 57, 334 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception in this game.
That's impressive.
Yeah, a
A good
very
stat line.
familiar name at wide receiver for the leading receiver in this game, Joe Bignell, 10 receptions, 130 yards, 2 touchdowns. Very recognizable name. Very familiar with that family.
Yes. Yes. Yeah, I feel like if we see that from this team now, the Cats have blown the doors off it.
Oh yeah, definitely. If Tommy
Yeah.
throws over 300 yards, this is a different type of game.
Yeah.
It's a very different type of game. That would be a pleasant surprise for sure. The quarterback
Yeah.
that did not have such a great game was the quarterback for Louisiana Tech, as he went 24 for 38 and threw 4 interceptions. So, rough day for him. Mr. Kyle Gandy had a rough day.
Rough day at the office.
Yeah, 40 years ago.
So bad for you, so good for me.
Yeah. Do you think he still thinks about it to this day, like that championship opportunity runs through his mind? Those 4
You
picks still
have to,
haunt him a
man.
little bit?
You have to think so.
Oh, yeah. At least a little bit. At least a little bit.
You lost the big dance, and there's just you have to think about it a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also,
Yeah.
I didn't know this, but they played that national championship in Charleston, South Carolina, which seems kind of weird.
Yeah, I wonder if it was like hosted there or something.
Yeah, must have been.
Because Frisco's had it for a while now.
Yeah. Recent
But-
memory, like most of my memories are all Frisco championships.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not sure how long it's been there, but it's been a long time. So,
Yeah, definitely.
and then on to Nashville.
On to
Going
Nashville.
forward.
That's going to be exciting. I think that is a much easier sell if you're trying to convince the significant other in your life to make the trip for a national championship. If you get to go to Nashville, Frisco is cool. Don't get me wrong. Texas is awesome, but Nashville's a little bit different. Like,
Yeah.
it's a little bit different. It's a little bit more of a destination for like a vacation that you would already be planning for. So I could
I
see
think
that
that's-
argument being made easier.
I think you're exactly right. It's a vacation destination.
Mm-hmm.
I think in that circumstance, you probably say, "Hey, hon,
Mm-hmm.
let's go to Nashville. You go do whatever you want. I'm gonna go to the game."
Yeah. You do you. Whatever that is you want to do, you go for it. You know, that's all you.
But I do feel like that people would go there more for a vacation rather than going to watch it just to watch a football game.
Yeah. I don't think
But-
a ton of people are making Frisco a destination. Maybe some people do. I don't know. Maybe I'm completely wrong on that.
Yeah, I'm sure there's a few people, but Nashville would have way more for
Yeah.
sure.
Oh, yeah. That would be quite a bump, I feel like, as far as attendance. And it might even be easier to get there because there's a lot of flights going into Nashville.
And I think that's kind of, I don't know. To me, that's like the optimal time to maybe go to Nashville when there's no humidity and heat.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Because I think we all know Tennessee can get a little brutal in the summertime. So
Oh, yeah. Definitely.
I think that time of year might be even more ideal.
Might be peak. Might be peak
It does look-
rooftop beer season.
Yeah. The weather down in Frisco for a game so far looks pretty darn good. Mid-50s.
Okay. That would be awesome.
Yeah, lows not much colder than that, right above freezing.
Mm-hmm.
It looks pretty
Pretty
comfortable.
Pretty good temperature to watch a football game at, I would have
Yeah.
to say.
Yeah, better than the last time we were in Frisco and it rained the entire time.
Yeah, that would probably be less fun. You know?
Yeah.
Less fun for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah. I don't know, man. We keep talking about it, and it's just, I just need this week to speed up just a little bit.
Oh, yeah. Definitely. It would help out
I'm so-
so much.
I'm so ready to get on an airplane and get out of here.
Mm-hmm. Oh, and I'm sure with you guys and how busy you are during this season, it has got to feel pretty good to know that you can get away.
Yeah, I mean, I probably shouldn't be leaving in the middle of calving season, but once in a lifetime, baby.
Yeah. You never know. You never know what's going to happen next. We're hoping for a dynasty. We're hoping for continued success and everything like that. But at the same time, you really just don't know.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. I couldn't miss this one. I couldn't miss it.
Yep.
Yeah. Did you have another little snippet of something you made that you might want to play?
Okay. I was hoping you would forget about it, kind of. I was listening to this today, and I was like, this is very, very cringy. If anybody ever thought I was cool, which I don't think that's something that people describe me as. Like, I'm not a cool guy. You know, I'm goofy. I'm a fun time guy. You know, I'm a good person. I'm a good hang, but I'm definitely pretty corny, you know.
Just for a little background here,
Yep.
we were watching, which game was that?
It was the UT Martin game.
Yeah, the UT Martin game. And I get a text message from Ben after the game had ended, and it's an audio file titled Cat Sea Shanty.
So some background for people that haven't been listening to the podcast religiously for a while. When our Spotify Wrapped came out, it showed us what our listeners listen to the most, which types of music they listen to the most. And the number 3 top genre for our community of podcasts was the sea shanty. I was like, I know sea shanties are getting more popular, and it seemed like a couple years ago they were going viral, and there was a lot of videos of dudes singing sea shanties in their living rooms and stuff like that, and kitchens. But I didn't know it was still a thing. But apparently, the Podcats love a sea shanty. So, for you, the Podcats, with help from our friends at ChatGPT, I made a sea shanty, recorded it myself. This is my beautiful voice that you get to experience during this sea shanty. I don't think I'll play the entire thing.
No.
But if we get enough comments, I'll release it. I'll release it as I don't know if I can release a song on Spotify. It might have to be released as a short podcast. But I will release it. I need at least, we'll say if we get 100 likes on this next YouTube video, on this episode, if we get 100 likes, I will post the entirety of the sea shanty. So here's a little taster for the people. Heave-ho, the Bobcats roar from the mountains high to the river shore. With courage bold and spirits free, we'll stand together, you and me. On the gridiron green, hear the crowd's loud cheer from the mighty Bobcats we hold dear. It's so bad. Oh my god. I just peeked out the microphone hard. Sorry to everybody's ears. Oh, that is bad. Oh. I thought it was so funny when I first made it, and then like you have a couple weeks of separation, and you know when you have an idea for a joke and you think it's gonna be super funny. That joke didn't age well for me. Like it's still a little funny, but at the same time, it is corny as hell. I apologize.
After Ben sends me this audio file, the immediate text following it says, "This is why Ben shouldn't be left alone during Bobcat games."
Yeah, I shouldn't be allowed to watch them by myself. The mind races, I start getting ideas like this, and then I have the opportunity where I'm just sitting at my computer and I can just start making it. I have all this recording equipment now. It doesn't help me out.
I don't know, man. I listened to that. I was laughing so hard when you sent me that.
Heave-ho, the Bobcats roar from the mountain to the river shores. Yeah, it could be a certified banger. We'll see if we can get a better production team out there, and
we like to have fun around here.
Yeah, we like it. So that's for all of our sea shanty podcasts. That's what you get.
I mean, I will give you, Ben. It is catchy.
Yeah. What's crazy is that there's a whole nother minute.
Yeah.
Like we played that for what felt like an eternity for me because I hate it. Every time I make anything, I hate putting it out. I get so anxious about it. So, You know.
Hey, you didn't blush too bad, so that's good.
Yeah. I just could not keep a straight face whatsoever. I was like, I don't know what to do here. I don't know if I should hype it up or what I should do. Yeah.
Uh, should we get on to actual football?
Oh yeah, we probably should. We probably should.
Oh gosh. So vegan staying.
Yeah, that is great news, and I was on the edge of my seat for the almost the entirety of Friday.
Friday was a weird day because that Tom Stuber put it out there like breaking news that vegan had talked to the team and addressed the team that he was going to take the Washington State job, and then everybody freaks out,
Yeah.
loses their mind, and then an hour and a half goes by and he posted a recant, took it all back.
He redacted his own statement.
Yep. Said that the source he had misheard.
Which is
and then,
wild. Oh, it broke my heart for that, like, 45 minutes that I thought that was our reality right now.
I mean, the impacts of vegan staying, I mean, we had talked a little bit about it.
Yeah.
And I think there's a couple main things that you can take away from this. Whether he turned the job down, we know that there was a meeting that took place, and whether he turned him down or they just chose this other guy instead, either way, vegan was not going to be willing to jeopardize a national championship just to make some more money, essentially.
Yeah.
That's that. And if you think that doesn't resonate with his players, and it sure as heck resonates with the fan base.
Oh, yeah.
Vegan is now a national treasure in the state of Montana.
Oh, yeah.
Everything that we've talked about for 2 years, Ben, about this cat culture and the locker room camaraderie and how close this team is, it is undeniable at this point.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, he turned down or potentially turned down a shot at the big leagues so that his team wouldn't lose focus and there was no distractions during what is, essentially the biggest game in these kids' life.
Yep. And when that report that got eventually taken back, when it first came out, that was my first and really only thought was like, how are the players going to react to this? Are they going to be able to stay focused if this is actually true? What is happening right now? But I wouldn't blame vegan if it was true. I wouldn't be super pissed off. He deserves those opportunities, and it makes a whole lot of sense. Like if I was in his position, it would be very hard to turn down offers like that. If somebody was offering me 2 times, 3 times what I'm making right now to do the same job, I would leave probably instantly. It would be very tough to turn that down.
That's exactly right. Like you can't fault him for taking another job. He has obviously earned it with what he's done with this program. But the other big thing I think that is very important here is now Coach Vegan can now essentially smooth the transition post Tommy Milan.
Yep. And that's going to be a big transition to make.
It is. It's going to be a massive transition. We're moving to a whole new face, whoever that may be. I think with him at the helm, we stand a really good chance of minimizing, a loss of production to a certain extent. And the other big thing is that I think if the Bobcats were to lose vegan, I think that they proved that internal hires are very important to team camaraderie and the locker room in general. We've seen that over the course of a year with both offensive coordinator and defensive coordinator being new guys, well, not essentially new guys, but new to their respective positions. And I think if they were going to hire from within, this gives him a chance to groom the replacement a little more.
Yep.
And essentially leave the program in good hands, in good standing. So I guess all I'm trying to say is that this is so huge for us. His decision to stick with us regardless of the dollar signs hanging out there, it's pretty special feeling, really.
Oh yeah, definitely is.
And he spent 12 years, I think, at North Dakota State. He spent 7 years at Wyoming, so it's
Yeah.
not like he hasn't settled in at places before. And yeah, I mean, I think this is so important that we really everybody needs to understand that his decision, I think, is going to positively impact this program for a lot of years.
Yeah. It's definitely gonna make a huge impact. And I hate doing all this speculation and everything, but it's so hard not to in these
Yeah.
situations because it matters so much to the core of the football team. If we weren't attached to Brent Vegan the way we are, we wouldn't care.
Yeah.
If we didn't respect him and everything like that, we would be like, okay, he might leave, whatever. But
Yep.
we just got to talk about it because of how much we respect the man.
I mean, he's top to bottom a true class act.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's just, if he would have left, I think we would have. There's a potential that we could have lost some players, and I think it could have been a tough transition because we saw what the guy who did get the Washington State job, what that is going to impact South Dakota State for years and years.
Mm-hmm.
He only spent 2 years there. He is a South Dakota kid.
Mm-hmm.
Came up through that program. Essentially inherited a championship caliber team, and stayed there for 2 years. Won a natty and bounced. And all reports I've seen says he's taken his entire staff and most of the top players with him.
Yeah, which would be a major fear for Montana State as well.
I mean, we
it's
already
not just
know
that
that
Vegan would be leaving; it's that who else is he gonna take with him?
Yeah, we already know that stud Wildy, a wide receiver for this Jackrabbits, he's already in the portal. Gronowski's in the portal, even though he said entering the portal gives him chances to weigh his decisions, whether he's going to try the NFL or go elsewhere. He's going to weigh those decisions. But I've even heard like Tucker Large is potentially going to go with him. I mean, this is going to set them back, and it just doesn't. It's not a real good look when your homegrown boy bounces like that.
Yeah, it definitely hurts a little. It adds a sting to it for sure.
Yeah.
And they've done a really good job of keeping talent because they've had a lot of talent over the years, and they've been able to keep guys around. That's how they got that back-to-back national championships. Was because they could keep talent around, keep everybody happy, keep everybody on the same page, and create this. Would we call it a mini dynasty that they have?
I mean, they won back-to-back championships. That's extremely hard to do. I think that's fair.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, I don't know. It would have gutted me to see that happen to the Montana State Bobcats.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I mean, we saw what happened to Idaho. I know we haven't talked about Idaho at all.
Mm-hmm.
When Jason Eck left Idaho, probably 30 guys hit the portal.
Oh yeah, right away.
Anybody on that team hit the portal, and they essentially led a fan player led charge to get the guy they wanted, and the athletic director and leadership there went their way, and now we're seeing guys rescind their portal applications. They're taking it back, and they're coming back to Idaho. And Idaho, I think they've got enough of those guys back that they're probably not going to be a dumpster fire like I thought they would be.
I mean, we had our doubts about Idaho last year as well, because they lost a lot of talent in the portal last year, and they were able to reload, get that team recentered, and Eck was able to make a lot out of a very young team. Because Idaho was looking like they could be a very powerful squad in the future because of how much young talent was on that team. And now we'll see what they can keep. We'll see what's going to go with Eck. That'll all shake out through the entire transfer portal process. But at the same time, it is a much different type of transition than last year.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see. I don't think they lost. I mean, they lost like Jack Lane and Jason X's son. I can't remember his first name. Both those guys went to New Mexico with Jason Eck, and then they're that wide receiver that was so talented. He was getting some pretty high level offers from what I saw. Power 5 schools and whatnot, and
Dwyer was going to get the offers.
Yeah, Dwyer.
Just his build and his athleticism, he looks like a wide receiver at the next level, at the FBS level.
Yeah. So I think that Idaho is going to be better this year. And speaking of Idaho, I saw their former quarterback that transferred to Oregon State is now down at Incarnate Word.
Yeah.
They convinced him to go down there. So Incarnate Word's going to be pretty darn good this year, I think.
Yeah. They will definitely be adding some talent to what's already been perennially a playoff program. Yeah. So they have the coaching staff and everything in place. It's just about putting the pieces together for them.
Yep. They, I don't know. Things are looking pretty good. I mean, as far as what I like to see, things are looking pretty good. And Sac State got a new head coach too.
Oh yeah, who's that?
Yeah, Brennan Marion. He was an assistant at UNLV the last couple of years, and from everything that I've seen, this guy is a mover and a shaker.
Okay.
Ever since he's been putting together a pretty incredible staff, it looks like, and been very active in the transfer portal to get that team turned around.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's there's a lot happening within the Big Sky Conference right now.
Yep. There's a lot of changes already being made. It's kind of weird this year that I haven't been paying attention to much of it at all. And it was all we were talking about last year at this time.
Yeah.
We were coming up with anything we could to talk about, and it was mainly transfers leaving Montana State, but also transfers across the entire Big Sky Conference because of this whole new reality of what FCS football is in the time of the transfer portal.
Yeah, everybody's trying to figure out how they fit in, and coaches are trying to adapt to this new come and go aspect of the transfer portal. The other team that's been gutted is the Grizzlies.
Yeah, they're having a hard time right now.
They lost. I just saw they lost Sawyer Racanelli, and they already lost Riley Wilson. Graduated a whole bunch of dudes, but that wide receiver core is completely gone.
Yeah. That's going to be, and that talent is very, very hard to replace.
Yeah. They've already signed several, transfers coming in, but this is the mind-boggling part, Ben, and maybe you have some insights for me here. Why on earth would they bring another quarterback into that program?
Fife's gone. Ayat is the only option right now, and we saw it last year how they are not afraid to bring in as much talent as possible because they were offering a lot of quarterbacks last year.
Yeah,
and there's a lot of talented quarterbacks that have already entered the transfer portal at this point. I honestly could see maybe they offer like Clifton McDowell to come back because he's back in the transfer portal. Like they might bring in 4 or 5.
They signed the backup quarterback from USC.
Yep.
And it's a mind-boggling move to me because I can't understand why you're not going to turn this thing over to Ayat. It has to happen at some point.
Yep.
He's through his freshman season. Isn't it time to let your golden boy kind of take things over?
It just depends on it. Do you truly think that he is the golden boy there? I know he's a legacy. I know fans loved him a lot last year. Yeah. Fans loved him a lot, and they thought he was going to be the truth whenever he got on the football field. Now, I do not see a lot of love from Montana fans when it comes to Ayat. I believe that Montana fandom has turned on Ayat, and they are ready to see anybody but him. And this USC quarterback could be very legit. That's a 3-star guy coming over who's coming from a big-name program. That is the type of quarterback that could make a lot of differences in your program.
He could. I just wonder if you're not gonna if you're gonna lose support.
Yeah.
I mean, the Bobcats could have done this with Tommy.
Yeah. I mean, they could have, but they wouldn't really think about it. They brought in, but the thing is, Tommy is so transcendent that they brought in massive talent in Sean Chambers.
Yeah.
They brought in a massively talented quarterback out of Wyoming, and they figured out a way to utilize both of them. You know, that's what great programs do.
Yeah, that's very true. I don't know. It really surprises me that they're willing to take a chance with, potentially losing Ayat or something. I don't know. I just feel like at some point you have to commit and see what he can do for you. And if he can't do it, then you go find a new guy.
Yeah. Well, they're willing to move on every single series from him. They have shown zero faith. It is, you have 2 bad series, you're out of the game, and we'll see if you're ready to play next game. It is a weird system right now.
I mean, it just feels like over there in Missoula, these massively talented quarterbacks come in, because it's not like these guys aren't good. Fife was a very good quarterback, and then they had I'm blanking on his name, but he went to Stephen F. Austin. Vidlak. Sam Vidlak.
That's it.
They had Sam Vidlak. They tried to make him the starter, and Clifton McDowell ended up becoming the starter. But Sam Vidlak went down to Stephen F. Austin the next year and had an all-conference season.
Mm-hmm.
So I just don't understand what they're doing in Missoula. It's like they bring quarterbacks in just to make them worse.
Yeah. It doesn't make any sense. I don't see what they're trying to do. Every single person who watches any amount of football has been asking the question, what are the Grizz doing at quarterback? And I don't think that question is going to be answered in the offseason, because they're probably going to bring in a ton of talent.
Yeah, they've already started bringing in transfers and, some pretty, I think, exciting players and everything.
Definitely.
But I still think to have a successful football team in Montana, you need a roster with a bunch of Montana kids, and they didn't do that this year.
Yeah.
They did not get a ton of Montana recruits, and especially not the highly coveted ones. And the ones that they did get decided they were going to go play at NAIA schools instead.
Yeah. Which is, it's a smart move for a lot of Montana guys. Because it's tough to come out of Montana with the low population and everything, and the low population just adds to the level of competition that you're going up against. So we get a few greats out there, but we don't get a ton of greats.
Yeah. I say all this just to say Bobcats for Bobby is back.
Oh, it is?
It's back.
All right. We're going to repost the shirts. Bobcats for Bobby. Here we go. We're back to loving him.
He is driving that program right into the mud right before our eyes, and Ben and I can't thank him enough for that.
Okay. That actually brings up one thing that I forgot about, and I was going to bring up, okay? Because I received one amazing Christmas present from my sister Hannah, who is a #1 all-time podcat already, because she helped us get Ty McCall on the show. But she gave me this Christmas present that is right behind my back right now. I don't know how I forgot it. I've been leaning up against it. But it's this right here.
Hey, let's go.
She said it was the last extra large on Facebook Marketplace that she could find.
That's awesome.
I think I'm going to get it framed.
I think you should give it to me to go to Frisco in.
Okay, you can have it for Frisco, but you got to make sure you don't get it too dirty, because I'm probably going to frame it. I don't know how long the Hawk Tua joke will last, because I feel like the Hawk Tua thing is going to fade away here. I can't
Yeah.
see it lasting too much longer, but that is a piece of Bobcat history.
I can't make promises that I don't make promises that I can't keep.
Yeah.
So probably don't give it to me. But
I mean, I would rather see it in Frisco. And if it gets some stains on it, it just makes it more authentic.
yeah, this was my barbecue sauce, and this was my beer, and
If you do, you just have to try. I'm not saying you have to, but if you take that shirt and you wear it to the game, you have to try and get it signed by somebody.
yes,
Yeah.
yes, I mean, that goes without saying.
Mm-hmm.
If you think I'm not storming that field if we win,
Yeah.
you're crazy.
That is a moment where it is completely justified to storm the field.
Yes, yeah. Man, we're back on the Frisco talk.
Mm-hmm.
I just can't wait.
You can't resist it. Can't resist it.
No, it just needs to hurry up and get here. But it is a wild time to be a fan of college football right now.
Mm-hmm. Everything is changing constantly. There is
Yeah.
no shortage of great news stories to talk about every single week when it comes to football because of the transfer portal, because of NIL. It has completely changed the game in ways that, for the most part, I love.
Yeah,
I love competition. I love parity. I love people being in charge of their own destiny, people being able to bet on themselves and make the changes that they want to make in their lives. That I am all for it.
yeah, and that kind of brings me to another thing is, so they changed the FBS deal to this 12-team playoff.
Mm-hmm.
They put those playoff games on last weekend, and they absolutely cratered. You know what didn't crater? The FCS semifinal games.
Yeah.
They got those games on primetime TV
Mm-hmm.
in front of a bunch of people, and the viewership was like 1.3 something million for the Bobcat game and 1.5 something million for South Dakota State. It's like, I mean, it's somehow the FCS is figuring out how to make their product better and more viewable and
Mm-hmm.
findable than the FBS is.
Yeah.
And now we have a national title game on Monday Night Football's television slot on ABC.
Yeah. That is pretty crazy.
That's going to bring some pretty big numbers.
Oh, yeah. That's a lot of new eyes to the FCS that we are in need of.
Yeah. I mean, it's really, I think this is the time where the FCS is, I think they're figuring out how to do it going forward.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to get these teams, especially teams like North Dakota State, Montana State, South Dakota State, University of Montana somewhat. They want those teams specifically at the forefront of this thing because it is a good product. And we've known that forever, but the general population does not.
No. I mean, last year, and I'm sure it will probably be the same thing this year. I'm not expecting ESPN to change what they're doing. But it's so sad when you have a halftime show of a national championship game, and last year all they talked about was the college football playoffs at the FBS level.
Yep.
There was zero analysis of the game that was actually being televised.
That is 100% true.
And I really hope that changes, but I just don't see it happening. Because everything that ESPN has shown is that they bought the rights to the FCS so that they could play all the games, have the broadcasting rights, but they are not willing to invest in the analysis of it, hiring people on strictly for FCS. Most of the people that are doing those shows just have a very basic knowledge of stat sheets.
Yep. Maybe we should be the halftime guys.
I mean, I feel like we should just start doing a halftime show if people would actually want to listen to that. We'll start a halftime live stream or something like that. But if ESPN wants to hire us, go for it.
We are very cheap.
Mm-hmm.
We don't cost a ton.
No, I would probably do it for free if we got to be on ESPN and we could just plug the podcast.
If anybody from ESPN is listening to this, Ben will sing the sea shanty during the halftime.
Oh, it's sold then. We just got hired. We just got hired, Eric, you know? If that's what they're looking for, we just got hired.
Yeah. Yeah. It was pretty interesting to see our comment section on the YouTube video blow up.
Yeah, we've never had really like actual arguments going on in our comment section.
Yeah.
You know, I was like, oh, people are getting a little fiery in here. A lot of people are mad at Cam Miller right now for sure.
Yeah. What did you think about his comments about South Dakota State? Did you even really care about it?
It didn't move the needle a ton for me. It's not the classiest thing of all time, but I'm not super mad at him. I didn't think he was the coolest guy in general. I don't think if I met Cam Miller, we'd be like best buddies or anything like that.
Yeah.
But it doesn't make me think that he's like a bad dude, you know.
No, I kind of felt like that there was I see both sides, I guess. Like, I get you don't like your rival.
Mm-hmm.
And I also get what the other side is saying about South Dakota State taking cheap shots on him.
Yeah, that is very true. They were taking cheap shots in him in both matchups they had this year.
But when you give people bulletin board material like that, I mean, luckily they had already beat the Jacks out, and the Jacks are probably not going to be contending next year. So
we'll see. The portal giveth and the portal taketh away.
I mean, I think he can get away with it.
Oh, he can definitely get away with it. Yeah, when you're talented like
twice and walked the walk twice.
Yeah, that is also a major part of it.
Twice.
Yeah,
made it back to the national championship. I feel like you're entitled. And if Tommy Mellott, he just would never do that. We're just so
he's
spoiled.
Not that kind of guy. He's just not that kind of guy. He's definitely driven, but he's more internally driven than externally driven. He doesn't need to tell people about it. He doesn't need outsiders to tell him that he's good. Like, he just has a quiet confidence about him that a lot of people really respect. Sometimes do I wish he would talk a little bit more trash? Kind of, you know, because I love trash talkers, and I just love fiery football players that go after a guy and will let him know about it a little bit. I'm not mad about trash talk in really any situation. I don't like to hear it from coaches. I guess that's about it. Players I'll take some trash talk from. I really think it's very... It looks very bad when you have your coach trash talking.
Yeah, you could probably leave that out for sure. But I don't know. I think it's all in good fun, and if you can back up what you're saying, you know, with actual results, then more power to you.
Yeah. That's the difference between being cocky and being confident. Is just whether or not you back it up. If you back it up, you're just confident.
That being said, I am happy that Tommy doesn't go around telling people that he hates the University of Montana.
Yeah, that would make things a little bit tough. And also, he would have a lot of reasons to say that, because over the years, U of M has I can remember hearing a couple of stories about them playing some disrespectful low light reels, we'll call them, at University of Montana basketball games when he was in the crowd and stuff like that. So they've given him some reasons. They've definitely given him some reasons.
There's no doubt about that. Yeah, I don't know. I think it's part of the reason why Tommy is so universally loved throughout this state by Cat fans and Grizz fans alike.
Mm-hmm.
Is that, and really it goes to the team as a whole. They're all just a bunch of classy individuals, and Vegan doesn't tolerate horse pucky.
Yep, he does not tolerate it at all.
Yeah. So, there were a couple questions in the YouTube comments I saw.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. RR Gale 55 asks, do you really think Daly has what it takes to take over from Vegan?
You going to me first, or do you want to respond to that?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay.
Go for it.
It is very hard to judge whether or not somebody is ready for the head coaching position until you put them in that position. You don't know how you're going to respond to that role until you're in it. I think Daly is a very, very intelligent coach. Throughout, as a fan, I'm more of an offensive guy. So I love to see offensive coaches. I love to see high-powered offenses. And I don't think that would really change if you brought in Daly as a head coach. I think he is very much capable of it. I don't want anybody to think that I'm not saying that, but at the same time, it is very hard to judge when you don't have there's not a lot of tape on him speaking. I haven't heard a lot of speeches from him. He's not in a lot of press conferences or anything like that, which makes it hard to get at what his personality's like and things like that, which are what matters a lot at that head coaching level.
We've talked a little bit about Daly, before the season started, and kind of why we thought he would be successful in the position that he's in.
Mm-hmm.
Being a decorated linebacker for Montana State University, coming up from starting at the bottom, working his way up toward the top.
Yep.
And now he is the defensive coordinator / director of in-state recruiting.
Yep.
I think he 100% has what it takes to be a head coach. And I know for a fact he was a finalist for the Idaho job.
Mm-hmm.
He was in discussions to be contacted and whatnot. I could be wrong on that, but that is what I heard.
Yeah.
I think that he would do a tremendous job. And it's part of the reason I'm happy Vegan is staying, is because if Vegan does leave next year, which wouldn't be surprised at all if he did,
mm-hmm.
it would be really, I think, great to groom an in-house hire for another year.
Definitely. That would be amazing. Somebody connected that deeply with the cat culture. And from like a leadership perspective, I think that one of the big points for Daly is that every time that the players on that defense talk about him, they seem like, one, they truly love Coach Daly.
Yeah.
And two, they respect Coach Daly at the same time, which that is a very, very hard line to walk. It is very hard to be both loved and respected.
Yeah, I mean, he's done exactly what they've done.
Mm-hmm.
He was an incredible player, and now he's working his way up. And I think they could go either direction: offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator. But if you don't make somebody heir apparent, I feel like there's a chance that somebody might poach him out from underneath you.
Yeah, and that's always a major struggle.
That would be losing him as our defensive coordinator would be awful, if we're being totally honest. I mean, he is an incredible coach. He's proved it all season long.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like if you don't make it obvious to him, he could get poached pretty easily.
Oh yeah, definitely. You got to let him know how much he matters to us, or else he could be out of here. And he's got so much connections to the program and everything. I would have a hard time seeing him do that, but he would definitely. You would know that they didn't give him the opportunity if he did choose to leave.
Yeah. This person also had another question that was, do you think Vegan would stay and insert his son as quarterback?
That's going to be a big question of the offseason.
I think that, no, I don't know Vegan, but I feel like we kind of know how he operates now, and that nothing is given to you.
No.
He wouldn't just be inserted. He would have to go out there and he'd have to earn his spot away from other people.
Mm-hmm.
So no, I don't think he stays and inserts his son as at the quarterback position. I think next year they have a good quarterback competition, and they roll with whoever everybody on the coaching staff feels like is the best person for the job.
Mm-hmm. I would not be at all surprised if Grant Vegan ended up being the quarterback next year. I wouldn't be surprised, but there is a lot of talent coming in. with
Yeah,
River Warren,
he's
another
young.
3-star guy coming in. Like it's going to be a tough battle, like you said.
He's a young kid. I doubt he would play next year just because he's only going to be 18 years old. So it seems unlikely that he would play next year. But the following year, there's absolutely no reason to not believe he wouldn't win the job away from somebody.
Yeah, definitely.
But if I had to guess right now, Chance Wilson's the quarterback for the Montana State Bobcats in 2025.
That would be the most logical thing. I wish we would have seen more Chance Wilson throughout the year. This is going to be a very important offseason for Chance Wilson. He's going to have to he's not going to be able to coast into the job at all. So he's going to have to make some leaps and bounds for sure.
I do think it'll be a straight up quarterback competition between I think you pronounce it Duchesne, not sure.
That sounds right.
Patrick Duchesne, Chance Wilson, and this River Warren that's coming in.
Mm-hmm.
I think that'll probably be those three guys battling amongst themselves for who gets the starting spot. And I guess I forgot about
Jordan Reed.
Jordan Reed.
Yeah.
I guess you can't forget about him. So there's probably a 4-person battle for that starting job.
And Jordan Reed's been out with injury, right?
What's that?
Jordan Reed's been out with an injury, right?
I'm not sure.
I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
But I mean, he was listed as the backup on the 2 deep for a majority of the season, and then Chance Wilson was listed. So I would assume he was hurt, but I don't actually know that. So.
Oh, okay. Not unconfirmed.
Yeah.
Unconfirmed.
Yeah, but yeah, it was fun to read through these comments though.
Yeah.
But
it was a little funny having somebody get spicy in our comment section rather than just reading it on FCS Fans Nation. Also, I'm still very surprised by how overall positive everything is. Like, people will start stuff out positive, and then they might pick apart, like, a couple of the arguments we made a little bit. But overall, it's always, like, constructive, and people are respectful, and I love that. Love to see it continue.
Yeah. I also wanted to update the podcasts. I will be changing my bet slightly.
Okay.
The more I look into North Dakota State and I look at everything they've done on the whole season, and the more I look into Bobcats and what they've done on the entire season, I'm going to take that spread at -6.5 on the alternate, I think.
Okay.
I'm going to I feel comfortable enough that they could win by a touchdown. So instead of the 3.5, I think I'm going to take the alternate and go with -6.5.
You're just juicing yourself up a little bit.
Yeah. And I did just look. They have not released any prop bets yet.
Okay. We will have to cover those hopefully on Wednesday. They'll have those out.
Yeah. Yeah. And we will get that together. But until then, we will be counting the seconds till Frisco.
Yep. 1, 2, 3, 4. We'll literally be counting the seconds. All right.
You could count to the beat of the sea shanty.
Yeah. Heave ho, the Bobcats roar from the mountains high to the river shores. You know, it's going to catch on. If we start hearing that at like frat parties or like random house parties in Bozeman, I would feel the most accomplished. Yeah.
So Ben was telling me his next version will be a rap version of those lyrics.
Yeah, I think I'll stay away from that. I think I'm good. I think I'm good on that. You know, nobody needs to hear the Benny flows. You know, nobody needs that. You know,
he's gonna record himself doing the beatboxing, and then overlay his rap on top.
That would be even worse. Oh no. I would lose all credibility with our fans if I did that. You know, they probably already think I'm just a goof now. I'm going to lose a lot of credit. They're going to be like, this idiot, what are we listening to him for? You know, at least we got Eric here to keep things serious, you know.
I've got you thinking now. You're thinking about it.
Oh yeah. I'll come up with an entire Bobcat mixtape eventually. You know? My first album, all about the Cats.
You got to take those lyrics and insert them into every genre of music.
Yeah. I think
figure out
we definitely have an album name, Cat Culture. You know,
Yes.
Cat Culture
Yeah.
would be the album name. But
Cat culture accepts all, so we have to make one for, and by we I mean you,
yeah,
have to make one for every genre of music.
Yeah.
Gospel, country.
hmm
We might have to tweak the lyrics a little bit to get some, like, my dog died in the country, and some religious stuff in the gospel. But we'll figure. Ben will figure it out.
I can't wait to make. I can't wait to make the metal version. You know,
Yes.
that's the most exciting to me. I'd get to bring out the screamo voice and everything. That'd be fun.
Yeah, he's gonna grow his hair out a little bit longer so he can headbang to it.
Oh yeah, definitely. Need to skip a couple of haircuts. I'll have to let the wife know.
Yeah. Oh yeah, us and our old tangents.
Yeah.
It's all
They're
fun.
getting
It's
worse
all-
and worse by the week, you know. We need this football game to get closer, so we stop with the tangents.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Good on it?
Got anything else?
No, I think that's all I had for the people, you know. Go ahead and rate us 5 stars wherever you're listening to this at. Follow us on Instagram or X at CatsPod. Go ahead and check us out on YouTube at The CatsPod. Remember, if on that YouTube video of this episode, if we get over 100 likes on that, I will release the full unedited version of the Cats Sea Shanty that I know everybody wants to hear the rest of it, for sure. You know, everybody
I've
wants
heard
to hear
all
it. Yeah.
They want to hear it. Trust
They
me.
want to hear it. Okay. It only gets
After-
better. It only gets better,
After a
especially
minute-
towards the end when I start running out of breath. You know?
Yeah, I was just gonna say, after about a minute, Ben was starting to get winded.
Yeah. But I didn't want to cut things together to the beat. So I didn't want to have to edit it. So I was like, I got to do this in one take.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was
Yeah.
tough on the old windpipe.
All right, guys. We'll talk to you next time. Adios.